Hello everyone, this is just an audio check to see if my mic is working. Can you let me know if you can hear me, guys? Hello everyone, how you going? Just getting set up. So let's have a look. I think I've got it working here. Okay, how am I going to do this? Let's see if we do that. And we do that. Okay, and I'm listening to the horrible hold music there that we have. Welcome everyone, how are you all going? How are you all going? Oh, wait, wrong one. There we go. So, how are we all this evening? We can hear you. I want to see if Heise can keep his cool. I'm sure I always can, 100%. See, I've got my happy shirt on, guys. I've got my what do you call it? Hawaiian shirt on because it's going to be happy. It's going to be good, exciting. We, no doomer here. No the end of Australia. That's it. I've got my stein of coffee, and I think I've got everything working here with the streams. I've got a 1080 graphics card, and I'm getting issues. There may be a few seconds delay between what I send out and what. In the chat, what I'll do is, if we'll lockpick, I'll bring it up to the screen when we talk about the comments. So please share around the chat, everyone. I think I will try and do one more widget. So we've got a bit of a warm-up until they start. We've got about half an hour to go. Now I've asked a poll here for all of you. Will this budget influence how you vote at the next election? And can I pop this thing out? Maybe. Nope, I can't. Okay, I'm not going to touch that. So we'll see how it goes. And let me just get the view count running again. And okay. This is the first live stream I've done this year, guys. It's the first live stream. What am I expecting tonight? Stein of coffee, you mean bourbon? No, Adam, I'm behaving. What am I expecting tonight? A vote grab. I think we'll see a vote grab, guys. This is just all going to be about trying to get votes. So let's get the viewer numbers up here. Stream alerts. Oh, it's always so convoluted how you've got to get this all working here in with streaming. There we go. And that should be telling us what we're doing here. Okay, hang on. I'll edit this. I'll edit this. Stream viewers. Yes. Why can't we see that? Did that not appear? What's going on? Come on. Come on. Hang on. Hang on. So you all having a good week, guys? It's only Tuesday, I know. It's only Tuesday. There we go. Oh, that's Twitter handles. Stream viewers. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Now how do I position this guy? Make him a bit bigger. Okay. We got 97 of you watching. Wow, I have not done this for a while. We'll put that up there. There we go. There we go. Look at this. Polished operation here. The chat. Fantastic. You can still all hear me? You can still all hear me. I'm going to save this so I can do it. I'm having graphics card overheating issues, guys, because, you know, I'm streaming to one source. I've been doing the demo work on the house, and so I've been trying to get the stumps out. We've got these concrete stumps, and I've been digging them out because we've got clay soil here, and then trying to push them over. And to do that, I'm pushing up and back and forth and crowbarring it out, and then going either with the sledgy or the jackhammer, the new jackhammer I bought. And oh, it's a workout. Now, do you think, can I consider that like a fitness workout, like weights? Doing with the jackhammer and lifting, trying to jimmy out 100-kilo concrete stump. I reckon I could. What do you think, guys? You think that counts as a workout? Because I'm counting that as a workout because I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it. Okay, we've got it on Gab, on Twitter, and all of these things. Okay, I think it's all working. So Dave is going, ScoMo has my vote for free childcare, encouraging people to have more than 3 kids. That's good that it's at least, more than one or two, working out for the dad bod. Yeah, that's it. I can save money on the gym and do up my crappy house. Win-win. Win-win. You need an option that says, I'm not voting because voting is slavery, Magic Mike. Oh, I can't have too many options, Jackhammers are awesome and cheap to buy. Yeah, actually. I got it for like $500, and it just... Because I was doing it with a sledgehammer, breaking it apart, and that is quite satisfying, smashing up concrete. It's welding and smashing up concrete. I think those are masculine things. And... with a jackhammer, just goes through it like nothing. Like nothing. This year the budget feels like an episode of Oprah. You're getting some money, you're getting some money, you're getting some money. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. It does feel like a bit of an episode of Oprah. It's going to be entertaining. It's definitely going to be entertaining, guys. Now can I... hang on. Okay. Should be able to pop that out so I can... Home Builder Grant 3. You think we'll get the Home Builder Grant? Maybe. Maybe. Dave is going, if this is the Liberal handouts, imagine Labour. Well, they have to overdo it now. So it's just going to go even worse, isn't it? You know, Jared is going, feels like a Labour budget. I didn't vote Lib for this. Well, there you go. It does, doesn't it? It really does feel like, it feels like very female focused, doesn't it? It's like it's for the girls. Pumbo is asking, we're going to look at the budget announcement from our treasurer. So he'll be, you know, the speech will be at Parliament in about 22 minutes. So we're just warming up a bit, talking about it. You know, who's done the calculators of what you're going to get? We'll have to see. JH, we need more money for welfare. Well, it's already hard enough getting people to work. You hear what Biden's saying over in the US, where if people are not refuse to take a job, they're going to lose their welfare. Lockpicking lawyers thinking we're going to have mass migration. I think we're going to. I think we're going to be attractive to a lot of countries overseas, and they're going to do everything they can to bring people over here. You know? Johnny reckons we'll get free money. Calculator says we're all going to get shafted. Well, probably. Probably. Hashtag end welfare. I don't know if it's possible. I think you might get some perverted version of UBI where they don't get rid of all of the government services and then you have all these different versions of UBI. But I can't see them ending welfare. Not in our lifetime. Too many people are just too invested in it, you know. Ryan wants to identify as a woman to enjoy the benefits. Wasn't there a guy who got his gender legally changed over in Canada so he could get cheaper car insurance? I have to ask my broker if I do that. Unfortunately, my broker watches Milo Yiannopoulos, so he'd just tell me to go to hell. Jambo is going, bring on the housing stimulus. Keep the money going. Probably going to see that. What happened there? What happened there? Lots of Americans and British are waiting to come over. Yes. Yeah, well, can you blame them? Can you blame them? Let the spendathon begin. It's just going to be a competition, really, isn't it, to see who's spending more. This I get the feeling it's just going to be about winning the election. What do you reckon? You think this is the election here? And remember, guys, I did make a I got to change that to live. I did make a poll here in the comments, and I've asked, will this budget influence how you vote at the next election? And out of 110 votes, 5% said yes, I'm undecided, a Labour voter. 15% said yes, I'm undecided, Liberal voters. 23% said yes, I'm undecided, a minority voter. And 57% said no, I've already made up my mind. So most people have already made up their mind and this budget won't make a difference. Rach G wants to see more tax deductions for because her husband is paying a fortune. Did you all see one of the senators was sending around a comparison that if you're earning, 150 grand, where the husband earns 100 grand and the wife earns 50 grand, you're better off than a couple where the husband is just earning 150,000. This is the problem. We need to bring back income splitting in the families. That's the issue. It's pretty unfair. If voting ever did anything, they wouldn't allow us to vote. Oh, that's a cynical approach. I mean, it's at least we can pretend we've got it better than when we were serfs. You know, you don't want to be that cynical. Even I'm not that much. Heise, we need old Paul Keating back, Ryan's saying. I don't know. At least he'd, you know, at least he'd put the country in a recession. That's the one thing that probably in the long term is good, but hang on. Will we hear the word balanced in the budget? Well, maybe a balanced approach. They'll make something up, but I don't know if we're ever going to go back to balanced. Not in our lifetime. I don't think we'll see the debt gone. I think we'll be long dead, honestly. So we've got to train up our kids. Election is a joke. The world government runs the country. They're at the same team. I can see how it feels like that, big fella. I can see how it feels like that, but I don't know if they're that organized. You know? Then we're just along for the ride. And yeah, the problem is then everyone will just work for themselves and you won't be able to build anything bigger. Put your kids in the family trust. That's what Yogi Bear is saying. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people can't do that. You know, their employees, they don't have that option. We need to abolish negative gearing for property investors, Ashley Tucker is saying. Well, remember, what's his name? The former Labour leader that no one likes. Not Albanese, the one before it. Shorten. Remember, he ran with that, but all the boomers were still going to keep it. It was only everyone moving forward. So if you got it, you were good. If you had your negative gearing, but anyone moving forward wouldn't have it anymore. So it's kind of unfair. Am I cynical? Am I, Rachel? I'm never cynical. How are you doing, honey? Are you okay? You okay? Rachel's watching with her foot up. She's, poor thing, suffered burns. You know, cooking as oil. No one is a fan of Shorten. Well, do you think we'll get Albanese? Do you think he'll be any better? That's the thing. RL is saying, all we're hearing is the pandemic can keep us safe while throwing money at woke socialist useless programs. Yeah, I think so. You know. Dave is wanting more pro-family politics would be ideal. I mean, it's a start. Michael's asking if Rachel is okay. She's okay, but she burned her leg and foot, so she's having a lot of trouble moving around right now. She was moving oil from a pan to a glass jar and exploded. So she's recovering, and it's very painful. I feel sorry for her. So she's hobbling around. Logan thinks everything will be focused around keeping the housing market alive. Well, that's our economy, isn't it? You know, housing market. What? Dave is going, Albanese cheated on his wife at a massage parlor. Never forget Maverick Val. I don't know. Okay. Well, I would be shocked if they run at the next election with Albanese if he lasts that long. Then they've pretty much given up. Burned on hot tallow. Yes, yeah. It's the sacrifices she makes to feed her family. Yeah. Heise, you owe her workers' compensation. No, she's a director, mate. Rachel's also a director in the business, so she doesn't receive any of those perks or benefits, unfortunately. Yep, that's workers' compensation. You can pay for it all the time, but you get nothing as a director. Kind of screwed over. Here we go. James, I'm a big lefty, but I don't like the wokeness. It really annoys me, and I feel like overall it hurts the working class chances to get good legislation through. Well, I think Labour has lost their way, mate. There's even if Labor has some good policies, I will look at the woke garbage that they're putting out, and that would be enough for me to not even consider them. I mean, and they're going to be workers, working class people that will see some of the rubbish that's coming out of the inner city labor, you know, bourgeoisie, labor people that are more in bed with the Greens than anything, that are pushing on and that they can't even relate to. These people probably never worked. You know, then they'll vote for somewhere else. Where are they going to go? You know, some of them will go for the LNP, some will go to One Nation, some will go to the miners. Maybe it's the only way they need to learn. Jim works in the house building industries, even over the waste of money. Well, yeah, anyone you talk to in the housing game, it's just insane at the moment. I was on the phone. I'm talking to like, you know, an old stumpy house raiser, and I'm going, "You're busy? How's it going?" He goes, "Yeah, flat out, it's insane." I go, "Bet you never thought that'd happen at the first recession in 28 years." And they're all shaking their heads, you know. How we going? We've got 11 minutes to go, guys. JH wants to vote to whoever legalizes weed. You know, it'll be more expensive then. That's what happened in California. They legalize it, then they'll tax the hell out of it. It'll cost you more. That's the problem. I think it's funny. Jared, working class people want to work. Unfortunate for Labor. Well, don't is the majority of people for Labor now the what is it? The unemployed workers union? I still find that's funny. How you can be an unemployed worker, I guess. Kershaw, a stumpy house raiser. The people who re-stump a house. You know. Re-stump a house. One of the oldest professions in Brisbane. Here we go. Rach is saying her mother's house build is delayed due to timber by a month. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. What? I have a hole in my ceiling 1 week before Gyprock is available. It's a joke. Well, they're overheating the market, everyone. They are just insanely overheating the market. Like I've been saying. It's just nuts. Guys, I mean, what do we got here? Twitter. Dave wants more taxes for cheap beer. Well, they need to take the taxes off beers. You know, just the amount of tax we pay. I don't think people realize. They don't realize. They wouldn't put up with it. Guys, they wouldn't put up with it. Petro wants to decriminalize all drugs like Portugal. I don't know how that would fly with the Australian culture. I don't know. You need baby steps. Honestly, but the problem... Well, here's the thing. I would rather they remove the tax on booze so people go out and just get drunk on alcohol instead of cooking meth or something. That's the... You know, so they need to look at those things, you know. Okay, we'll reduce the alcohol on beer and spirits. Reduce the taxes on that. What's the worst problem? They're both bad, but really need employment. We need to get more jobs, people working. Australia should be the #1 exporter of cannabis. Maybe. I was talking to a family member who has a farmer and said, "Oh, you're interested in growing it?" And he said, "Yeah, too much of a pain, too much paperwork, too much of a hassle, and it still uses a lot of water." So, because then you have all the hippies, you know, instead of having the greenie hippies from Extinction Rebellion coming to protest your cattle farm, they're becoming to steal your crop. You know? James is asking if I'm libertarian. I probably lean more towards libertarian than not, but there's certain things I'm more conservative with. I'm more, you know, free market, but socially I can be, you know, quite conservative. Just because I've lived a long time. I'm old now. As you notice, has anyone noticed the new haircut? I've trimmed the beard. I went to the barber and everything and got it so I'm not looking as crazy, but I'm still growing it long so the girls can braid it. Oh, see, Johnny, I can't read that out. We'll get blocked by YouTube. There you go. I don't think that's great. I wouldn't recommend it. 5 minutes to free money, Johnny's saying. But one thing I'd say, I wouldn't put all your hopes in one party. Everyone, you know. I would love a mix of politicians in our chamber, you know, the House of Reps. So when people are giving a debate, there's actually someone there to listen to it. I still remember looking at the footage of the cash ban when you're having these politicians giving these heartfelt debates. And there's no speeches, and there's no one there to listen. No one there to listen. That really got to me. JH thinks I'm looking fresh. Thank you very much. Should have gone for the ZZ top look. And Michael doesn't think I've got a haircut. It's the beard, mate. The beard. Here we go. Grant is going, even though I'm a lefty, I can't see Labour winning the next election with Anthony. He's a total dud. Yeah. People say Shorten has no charisma appeal, but Anthony is the brick wall in comparison. Yeah, you're probably right there. You know? The media is nothing but poison for the mind. Yeah, it does tend to manipulate a lot of people. Ich bin ein Australian. Ja, sehr gut. Ich bin ein Australian. Citizen Party or One Nation? That's what Biophysical Silver is going for. I think Citizen is a little too... They don't have as much exposure as One Nation. I think with Latham, One Nation's got a good win there. But they're going to lose a lot of their support in Hunter. You know? With what they did to Stu. And quadruple A, politicians are useless, the system is already set, the police can't go against the system to implement any good rules. That's an interesting point. I think the problem is with the bureaucrats that are inside the whole system. That's where you see, when people are talking about, the, you know, Agenda 21 or this type of stuff from the United Nations, that's where it filters through. That's where you see council members talking about these things, or staff that work at local councils implementing these sustainable policies that affect what you can do in your bloody house. It's the bureaucrats. You know, can we have a limited time frame for how long a bureaucrat can be employed? What do you think? It's more of a battle between Murdoch and the internet than the left or right. Is it really? What about the ABC? They have so much exposure and so much funding. You know, and look at all the news stations. Rach likes Katter. Yeah, he's good. Latham is a slightly more coherent lunatic. Well, Latham was the leader of the Labour Party, guys. Remember that. He was the leader of the Labour Party. Now he's One Nation. It shows you how far the Overton window has shifted. I wonder if politicians will get a pay rise this budget. We'll have to see. What's really in that mug? Just coffee, mate. I'm fasting today. I'm being good. I've had no food. Nothing. No, I even bought some beers yesterday. I've fallen off the keto wagon, guys, so I need to get onto it. I'm sure it'll all be good. Dave is making reference to the TG agenda. I mean, such a small percentage of people that are affected by this. If anything, it's just going to isolate groups. It's coffee, guys. It is coffee in the Stein. I'm behaving. Imagine if we can put politicians on a KPI system. Imagine if we could do that. Would I be open to doing debates with people? Oh, perhaps. The problem is getting anything organised with regards to streaming and times and that. It's a lot of work, you know. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's. Okay, I'm gonna play the audio now from the desktop. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear this audio? The rumbling from the politicians. Let me know in the chat. Manyo's going the minority-run Labour. Yes. Dave, I don't have to worry about that, mate. We're distance ed schooling our kids. You know, so we've framed our lives to protect our children as much as we can from that rubbish. And you just, you know, you have open conversations about this stuff with the kids. It's illness. Thank you, Nico. I appreciate the super chat, mate. Thank you very much. Are you on the Gold Coast now? Did you make it out of Afghanistan? Congratulations. Nico was trapped in Victoria for some time. And I'll make... Why didn't that thing come up? It sounds like sound, yep. Johnny watched my morning episode, hey? Did you? That terrified my mother. She's complaining about that. Ryan's, I'm going to move this. We have it. Ryan's asking if we should put 100% tariff on iron ore. The tariff is only for things coming in. If we want to put a surcharge on stuff going out, that's something different. Tariff is to protect industries in our country from goods that are coming in from overseas competition. So, you know, the government already collects royalties on it. I think the government's royalties that it should get should be determined by weight or product of goods and not account for the profit or loss of the business. That's kind of different. You can't hear them and you can't hear me? How's my audio, guys? Can you hear me here? Let me know how that's going. Do I need to adjust anything? I've turned them off. How's that? How about that? How are we going there? Is that okay? Here we go. They're wearing masks.
His Excellency the Governor-General recommending, in accordance with Section 56 of the Constitution, an appropriation for the purposes of Appropriation Bill Number 1, 2021-2022, and I call the Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I present the Appropriation Bill Number 1, 2021-22, and the explanatory memorandum.
Can you hear them, guys?
First reading, a bill for an act to appropriate money out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund for the ordinary annual services of the government and for related purposes.
And I call the Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Australia is coming back. Yeah. In the face of a once-in-a-century pandemic, the Australian spirit has shone through. Doctors and nurses on the front line, teachers and students in the virtual classroom, businesses big and small, keeping the economy moving. Team Australia at its best, a nation to be proud of. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we have come so far since the height of the pandemic. Treasury feared unemployment could reach 15% and the economy could contract by more than 20%. This would have meant more than 2 million Australians unemployed. It would have been the equivalent of losing the agriculture, construction and mining sectors. But, Mr. Speaker, today the reality is very different. Ahead of any major advanced economy, Australia has seen employment go above its pre-pandemic levels at 5.6%.
Do you think they practice, like off camera, all going here, 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 here? Do you think?
Unemployment today is lower than when we came to government. This is remarkable because Australia's fate could have been so much worse. The United Kingdom, France and Italy have all contracted by more than 8%. Japan and Canada by around 5%. Australia just 2.5%. On the health front, the catastrophic loss of life seen elsewhere has been averted. Early and decisive action saved lives and livelihoods. We closed our borders. The Prime Minister established the National Cabinet, and unprecedented support is seeing the country through.
Well, there you go, mate. Damn, $300.
The biggest global economic shock since the Great Depression. JobKeeper kept 3.8 million people in their job. JobSeeker helped 1.5 million people without work. And the cash flow boost supported 800,000 businesses and not-for-profits. And additional payments went to millions of pensioners, carers, veterans and others on income support. All made possible because we entered this crisis from a position of economic strength. But, Mr. Speaker, it has come at a significant and unavoidable cost. The COVID-19 recession will see our deficit reach $161 billion this year, falling to $57 billion in 2024-25.
There you go, guys. Billions of dollars in deficit.
With more Australians back at work, this year's deficit is $52.7 billion lower than it was expected just over 6 months ago in last year's budget. Net debt will increase to $617.5 billion, or 30% of GDP this year, and peak at $980.6 billion, or 40.9% of GDP in June 2025. This is low by international standards. As a share of the economy, net debt is around half of that in the United Kingdom and the United States, and less than a third of that in Japan. We don't want to be Japan. Okay, Japan's failed. No. Better placed than nearly any other country in the world to meet the economic challenges that lie ahead. Consumer sentiment is at its highest in 11 years. Business conditions reached record highs, and more Australians are in work than ever before. Our plan is working. Australia's economic engine is roaring back to life. Since the last budget, almost 500,000 jobs have been created. Tonight, I outline the Morrison government's plan to secure Australia's economic recovery and build for the future. A plan that continues to protect Australians from COVID. A plan that creates more jobs. A plan that guarantees the essential services. And a plan that builds a more resilient and secure Australia. It is a plan that is guided by our enduring values. Reward for effort, the power of persuasion and aspiration and enterprise, upholding personal responsibility and always providing a helping hand to those who need it. This is what the Coalition stands for. Mr. Speaker, our first priority is to keep Australians safe from COVID. In this budget, a further $1.9 billion is allocated for the rollout of vaccines. Australians have already received over 2.5 million doses. This budget provides another $1.5 billion for COVID-related health services, including for testing and tracing, respiratory clinics and telehealth. In total, the Morrison government has committed $20 billion to the vaccine rollout and to strengthen our health system in the face of COVID-19. Mr. Speaker, Australia's economic recovery is now well underway and we must keep the momentum going.
So how much money do you think they're going to spend? How many handouts? Are we going to, that's before we go any further, we're going to see Mortgage Keeper? Is it going to be Home Builder version 2? What else do you think, guys? You know, what else? Because here's the thing, you know, they've intervened in the economy, we're aware of that. There's not even a debate anymore over the alternative approaches to mitigating the spread of the illness. Have you noticed that? There's no discussion, no debate, nothing in the media, nowhere. You'll see papers come out from overseas analysing the data, saying it doesn't work. There's no debate. So this is now accepted, and it'll go to history. So we'll have to see what else they do, guys. You thinking money printer? People want to move overseas? You know, start the tally, tax cuts, now pay back later. Have you eaten beef cheek, Heise? I'll have to ask Rachel. Rachel will tell you. Thanks for the super chat, mate. I'm sure we probably have. We get the full beast. They pinned all their hopes on the vaccine. Well, they usually would. So, let's keep going.
In last year's budget, we promised hard-working Australians tax cuts and we delivered. Yeah. We promised the largest set of investment incentives and we delivered. Yeah. We promised more jobs and we delivered. Yeah. And this was done without undermining the structural integrity of the budget. But, Mr. Speaker, this pandemic is not over, and for as long as the virus persists, so will we. So tonight...
See, that's the problem. No one's felt it in Australia. A lot of people haven't. You're sure you've got the lockdowns, but no one's afraid. That's why there's going to be a lot of hesitancy out there in the community, because, well, we're not seeing the same things as overseas.
We go further, announcing that over 10 million low and middle income earners will benefit from a new and additional tax cut. Yeah. A stimulus measure that will support the recovery and build on tax cuts that we announced in last year's budget and budgets before that. Low and middle income earners will receive up to $1,080 for individuals or $2,160 for couples. More of their money in their pockets to spend across the economy, creating jobs.
Okay, I like that one. Tax cuts, fantastic. Good. Let people keep their money, but what services are you going to cut to offset it? I think we know the answer, guys. But still, a good start. Tax cuts, tick.
Under the Coalition, taxes will always be lower and hard-working Australian families will always be better off. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, 8 out of 10 jobs are in the private sector. A sustainable recovery requires a strong private sector. Our record investment incentives are filling the order books of the nation. Over 99% of businesses employing over 11 million workers can write off the full value of any eligible asset that they purchase. This has seen their spending on machinery
There you go. About time.
and equipment increase at the fastest rate in nearly 7 years. So tonight, we again go further, announcing the extension of these measures for a further year until the 30th of June 2023, so a tradie can buy a new ute, a farmer a new harvester and a manufacturer expand their production line.
But what about the houses, mate? What about the houses? Manufacturers, farmers buying utes, tradies buying utes, housing.
Mr Speaker, when construction work began to dry up, HomeBuilder came to the rescue. New house starts are now at their highest level in 20 years. New loans to first home buyers reach their highest level in nearly 12 years. HomeBuilder has been a huge success, and our $2 billion investment in affordable housing is bringing on more supply. Mr Speaker, in this budget, our housing measures go even further, helping another 10,000 first home buyers build a new home with a 5% deposit, supporting 10,000 single parents to purchase a home with as low as a 2% deposit, increasing the amount that can be released under the First Home Super Saver scheme from $30,000 to $50,000. Mr Speaker, under the Coalition, home ownership will always be supported. Mr Speaker, we know that some sectors and regions across the country continue to do it tough. That is why this budget provides a further $2.1 billion in targeted support for aviation, tourism, the arts and international education providers. More than 800,000 half-price airfares, support for more than 200 productions, grants to English language course providers and extending our small business loan scheme, which has already helped more than 45,000 businesses access low-cost finance. And we're also providing tax relief for around 1,000 small brewers and distillers across the nation.
Oh, there we go. Who wanted the lower tax on beers?
Mr Speaker, small and family businesses are the engine room of our economy. They are at the heart of every local community. As they strive to recover, we need the tax system to work for them, not against them. So tonight we provide small business with peace of mind that an independent umpire will stand between them and the tax office when it comes to debt recovery actions.
Yes, this is just something they announced. This is a great idea. They need to do something about the ATO because they're one of the second biggest organisations that's bankrupting businesses. So this is a really good idea.
We will take these disputes out of the courts and let small business get on with what they do best.
Thanks for the super chat, mate. Appreciate it.
Under the Coalition, small business will always be stronger. Mr Speaker, we need to equip Australians with the skills that they need to get a job today and tomorrow. In this budget, we double our commitment to the Job Trainer Fund, supporting a total of more than 450,000 new training places to upskill job seekers and young people. At a cost of $2.7 billion, we will create 170,000 new apprenticeships and traineeships. Building on the 100,000 new apprentices we have already helped into a job in the first stage of the program. We will help more women break into non-traditional trades with training support for 5,000 places, and will provide 2,700 places in Indigenous girls' academies to help them finish school and enter the workforce.
Isn't it my understanding that girls don't have the issues finishing school? It's usually boys. But I guess, yeah, but remember, this is about winning votes. Do you think it's going to win votes, guys?
Yeah. And more STEM scholarships for women in partnership with industry. Tonight, we're also providing another 5,000 places in higher education short courses and better matching job seekers to jobs. We will invest in modernising employment services, including specialist assistance for young and Indigenous Australians. Importantly, for those who find themselves without work, the government has strengthened the safety net, increasing the job seeker payment while enhancing mutual obligations. Mr. Speaker, childcare is an important driver of higher workforce participation and women's economic security. In this budget, we are making a further and targeted $1.7 billion investment in childcare. This will increase the affordability of childcare for low and middle income families.
See, this is the thing. They want to get all the women working. It's all going to childcare. So it's better to be earning less as a husband, your wife earning a little bit of money, you're getting the childcare money, you're getting all this, and this. Oh boy, there you go.
250,000 families will be better off by an average of $2,200 a year, giving more parents, especially women, the choice to take on extra work. Mr. Speaker, our economic plan...
Some viewers were calling that mortgage keeper, guys. Feels like it, doesn't it? You know, you get a couple, both of them working. That's what it's turned into.
Capitalises on the opportunities that will exist on the other side of this crisis. Building the infrastructure our economy needs for the future with our 10-year, $110 billion infrastructure program.
Dave's happy, at least they're somewhat conservative. Yes, I mean, I like the fact that it's focused on more than one child. So that's the one benefit of it. But, you know, you want parents to raise their kids, at least I do. Maybe I'm old-fashioned that way.
Tonight we make $15 billion in additional infrastructure commitments, including for the North-South Corridor in South Australia, the Great Western Highway and Newcastle Airport in New South Wales, the new Melbourne Intermodal Terminal in Victoria, the Bruce Highway in Queensland, MetroNet in Western Australia, highway upgrades in the Northern Territory, Light Rail Stage 2A in the Australian Capital Territory and Midland highway upgrades in Tasmania. In this budget, we also invest a further $1 billion in road safety upgrades to save lives and a further $1 billion in local road infrastructure projects. Funding for these shovel-ready projects will be provided on a use-it-or-lose-it basis. And through the Building Better Regions Fund, we will support a further $250 million of regional community infrastructure projects, creating more jobs. Mr. Speaker, under the Coalition, regional Australia will never be taken for granted. Throughout the pandemic, we have seen how quickly Australians have adopted, changing the way we work, shop and communicate, a trend that will only accelerate. Digital infrastructure and digital skills will be critical for the competitiveness of our economy, creating massive opportunities for growth and jobs. In this budget, we are investing $1.2 billion in our digital economy strategy, establishing a new national network of artificial intelligence centres to drive business adoption of these new technologies.
Now that all sounds good, but if you're travelling through the Australian airport, your digital equipment can be taken by the Federal Police and they can copy all the data down off it, and you won't know when they'll destroy it and if they will. That can breach a lot of the conditions and agreements some businesses have with third parties. Maybe they need to fix that too. Yeah, maybe. But don't worry, we'll have all these AI centres everywhere.
Expanding our Cyber Security Innovation Fund to train the next generation of cyber security experts. And undertaking a digital skills cadetship trial which combines workplace and vocational training. Mr Speaker, Australia's manufacturing sector will be a key driver of future jobs and higher wages. That is why we have already committed $1.5 billion to expand manufacturing activity and create jobs across 6 priority areas, including medical products and clean energy. We backed in our modern manufacturing strategy with an additional $2 billion in research and development incentives. Australia has led the world with innovations like Wi-Fi, the bionic ear and a vaccine for cervical cancer.
The whole argument that Australia invented Wi-Fi is pretty sketchy. More like we sued. We sued for it, but still.
And we want to see more innovation commercialised in Australia. And so tonight we are launching a new patent box starting on the 1st of July next year. Under the patent box, income earned from new patents that have been developed in Australia will be taxed at a concessional 17% rate, almost half the rate that applies to large companies.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting.
The patent box will apply to the medical and biotech sectors, and we will consult on expanding it to the clean energy sector. Mr Speaker, Australia's effective management of COVID makes us an even more attractive place for the best and the brightest from around the world. To take advantage of this, we are streamlining visas to target highly skilled individuals when circumstances allow. We're simplifying our tax laws, including the treatment of employee share ownership schemes, in line with the rest of the world. And we're improving Australia's competitiveness as a financial services sector and centre in the region. Mr Speaker, our strong economy enables us to guarantee the essential services that Australians rely on. In this budget, the Morrison government is providing record funding for schools, for hospitals, Medicare, mental health, aged care and disability support. Since
I assume they're focusing on bio and pharmaceutical because it's a point where we actually have a level of international competitive advantage. That's one of the more complex parts of our manufacturing sector that we are actually at a world level at. There's a lot of others that we really aren't.
Coming to government, we have listed more than 2,600 medicines on the PBS, an average of 1 each and every day. This has put life-changing treatments within the reach of every Australian. In this budget, we fund new medicines to treat breast cancer, lung cancer, asthma and osteoporosis. Tonight, we announced the listing of Emgality to treat chronic migraines. Instead of costing $6,800 per year for treatment, it will now cost just $41.30 a script, or $6.60 for concession card holders. The government was also providing in this budget new funding for endometriosis, research into preterm birth and genetic testing for pregnant women. Mr Speaker, the government
That's the one that Rachel is concerned about, the genetic testing for pregnant women. That's going to lead to, well, more abortions. Particularly now you have to pay for the tests.
Is committed to ensuring Australians can access quality medical services no matter where they live. That is why in this budget we will provide higher incentives to rural and regional GPs for bulk billed services, helping to keep more doctors in the regions. Mr. Speaker, the NDIS has made Australia a better country, profoundly improving the lives of people with a disability and their families. A new wheelchair, home modifications, care in the home and transport to work. Today, 450,000 people are receiving disability support. In the last year alone, more than 100,000 people have joined the scheme. In this budget, we will spend a further $13.2 billion over 4 years to meet the needs of Australians with a disability. And as the scheme reaches maturity, our focus is on ensuring its sustainability and that it continues to deliver a high-quality, essential service for those who need it. Under the Coalition, the NDIS will always be fully funded. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister called the Royal Commission into aged care quality and safety. It revealed shocking cases of neglect and abuse. Tonight, we commit $17.7 billion in targeted and practical...
JK's asking if they means test the NDIS. No, they don't. Not at all. You can be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and you'll still get it.
New funding to significantly improve the system. Yeah. We will fund another 80,000 new home care packages, bringing the total to 275,000 home care packages that will be available. We will increase the time nurses and carers are required to spend with residents. We will make an additional payment of $10 per resident per day to enhance the viability and sustainability of the residential aged care system. We will support over 33,000 new training places for personal carers and a new Indigenous workforce. We will provide retention bonuses to keep more nurses in aged care. We will increase the respite services for carers, and we will strengthen the regulatory regime to monitor and enforce standards of care. We will upgrade essential aged care infrastructure in regional and remote areas around the country. Mr. Speaker, this package brings our record investment in aged care to over $119 billion over the next 4 years. We are committed to restoring trust in the system and allowing Australians to age with dignity and respect. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, everybody listening tonight knows somebody who is struggling with their mental health. Suicide is the leading cause of death in Australia for those aged 18 to 44. Tragically, over 65,000 of our fellow Australians attempt to take their own life each year. These are not just statistics on a page. These are our family, these are our friends, these are our colleagues. In every budget, we have committed more resources to frontline services. Beyond Blue, Lifeline, Kids Helpline. Tonight, we extend our support with a $2.3 billion commitment to mental health and suicide prevention.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll get a men's shelter for fathers who are trying to flee IPV. We'll have to see. What do you reckon?
More headspace centres to support more young Australians. Expanding this model to those aged over 25 with a new Head to Health national network of 40 centres. Increased funding for the treatment of people with eating disorders. Greater access to psychiatrists, psychologists and GPs through Medicare. Universal care and access for people who have been discharged from hospital following a suicide attempt. A new National Suicide Prevention Office. And as the Prime Minister has announced, we will establish a Royal Commission into defence and veteran suicide. Mr Speaker, we have nearly doubled spending on mental health since we came to government. It is a clear national priority. It goes to the heart of who we are as Australians, helping those who need it most. Mr Speaker, in this budget, the government is investing record funding in education. We've already doubled school funding since we came to office. Our focus is on lifting student outcomes and better equipping teachers. Mr Speaker, tonight we also commit $2 billion to fund preschools with reforms to improve participation. Preschool is a vital time in a child's development and prepares them for the educational journey ahead.
Preschool. Okay, here we go. That's when a parent is meant to raise their child. Come on.
In this budget, we're also providing more than $19 billion in funding for our universities in 2021-22. And as a result of decisions made during this pandemic, this year there are 30,000 more places at Australian universities. Mr Speaker, all Australians have the right to be safe. The reality is that for too many women, this is not their experience. 1 in 4 women experience violence from a current or a former partner. This must stop, and we must do all we can to end all forms of violence against women and children. Yeah. Since we came to government, we have invested more than $1 billion to keep women and children safe. And tonight we invest a further $1.1 billion in women's safety, delivering more emergency accommodation, more legal assistance, more counselling, more financial support including cash payments for those escaping abusive relationships, more targeted services for Indigenous, migrant and refugee women and women with a disability.
Have we heard the word men, guys? Did anyone hear it? Did anyone hear the word men? Let me know. I may have missed it. I was having a shot of coffee. Did we hear the word men? Are men going to get anything?
We will improve the family law system to better protect children, give victims of domestic violence greater access to justice and reduce the time spent in court. Mr Speaker, sexual harassment is unacceptable in any context. When it occurs in the workplace, it denies women their dignity as well as their personal and economic security. The government, in its response to the Respect at Work report, is strengthening laws, guidance and standards to prevent and to address harassment. Mr Speaker, we want all Australians to get the most out of the superannuation system.
So there's nothing there for men. We didn't hear it, guys. I'm not surprised. Good night, RL. Thanks for joining us. And let's see what they're going to do with our super. Well, no. Men get something. We get something, guys. We get to pay for it.
On average, women retire with less superannuation than men. So tonight, the government will remove the current $450 per month minimum income threshold for the superannuation guarantee. This will improve economic security in retirement for around 200,000 women. Our plan will also make it easier for Australians to prepare for retirement and to be more secure once in retirement.
So this is now, they're removing the minimum. Guys, this is going to be interesting. So if you're, if you're at the below level, people are going to have hours cut. I bet you that's what's going to happen.
We will improve flexibility by no longer requiring older Australians to meet a work test before they can make voluntary contributions to superannuation. We will allow those aged over 60 to contribute up to $300,000 into their superannuation if they downsize their home, freeing up more housing stock for younger families. And we will also enhance the pension loan scheme by providing immediate access to lump sums of around $12,000 for singles and $18,000 for couples. Under the Coalition, Australian seniors will always have more control over their money. Mr. Speaker, COVID has not been the only challenge Australia has faced. Droughts, bushfires, cyclones and flood. This budget provides more resources to help Australians prepare, respond and recover from these natural disasters. A new National Recovery and Resilience Agency to lead our response to natural disasters. A $10 billion government guarantee to make insurance more affordable in Northern Australia. Funding from our $3.5 billion National Water Grid Fund to make regional Australia more resilient to drought, building dams and irrigation projects.
There you go, guys. Building dams and irrigation projects. Let's hope that will turn into something. Our potable water isn't doing so well. This government is far left. Well, it's an interventionist government. That's the two choices we have, everyone. Have I missed much? Blokes not getting anything, money being handed out left, right and centre, pretty much.
More than $600 million for community and household projects to mitigate the impact of natural disasters, and $170 million to strengthen internet and mobile coverage in regional Australia, particularly in bushfire-prone areas. Mr. Speaker, Australia's biosecurity system protects more than $50 billion in agricultural exports and 1.6 million jobs from threats like African swine fever. This budget will strengthen border screening controls and improve our ability to fight an outbreak. Mr. Speaker, a resilient Australia requires diverse and reliable supply chains. That is why we are providing additional support for Australian manufacturers of critical products, and more funding to help small businesses and farmers expand and diversify their export markets. Mr. Speaker, our industries and our regions depend on affordable and reliable energy. That's why the government is unlocking vast gas reserves in the North Bowen and Galilee basins and investing in hydrogen-ready gas plants.
Heise is happy he has 12 kids. I don't think we'll get anything. None of it. We don't do daycare, we don't do childcare, none of that stuff. So, you know. Oh well. I want us to implement the Polish thing. Once you have 5 kids, you get a medal and never pay taxes for the rest of your life. Let's do that. Or the Hungarian thing, I think.
We're also shoring up our fuel security by helping local refineries to keep operating here in Australia.
Well, that's good. That's good. In addressing our fuel security issue here in Australia, because that's an issue. That's a big problem, you know.
Mr. Speaker, we are the custodians of this great continent for future generations. This budget provides over $480 million in new funding for the environment, including $100 million to protect our oceans. We're also upgrading our recycling capabilities, creating jobs and reducing waste sent to landfill. Australia is playing its part on climate change too. Having met our
The lower beer tax, of course, Bella. Sorry, I forgot about that, but I'm not drinking beer at the moment. I'm not drinking. Yep, we got the lower beer tax. Yep, and everyone got, you know, a tax deduction. Still,
2020 commitments and on track to meet and beat our 2030 target. Australia is on the pathway to net zero, and our goal is to get there as soon as we possibly can, preferably by 2050. We will do this with a practical, technology-focused approach. Technology, not taxes, Mr. Speaker.
I like that tagline. Technology, not taxes. Maybe if we can just shift them for nuclear.
Already we have the highest uptake of rooftop solar in the world and are supporting major energy projects like Snowy 2.0 and Battery of the Nation. And in this budget...
Nope, not nuclear. Damn.
We are investing a further $1.6 billion to fund priority technologies, including clean hydrogen and energy storage. Our approach will strengthen the economy, create more jobs and reduce emissions. Mr. Speaker, while we have been fighting COVID, other threats to our national security have not gone away. To keep Australians safe from these threats, whether domestic or foreign, the government is providing an additional $1.9 billion over the decade to strengthen our national security, law enforcement and intelligence agencies. We also need to be prepared for a world that is less stable and more contested. That is why we are investing $270 billion over 10 years in Australia's defence capability. The Australian Defence Force continues to protect and uphold our national interests abroad and at home. Our Defence Force are always there for us and we are forever indebted to them. Mr. Speaker, this pandemic is far from over. Around the world, there are more than 800,000...
Happy Harry, here's the man part. Yeah, defence. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
New COVID cases every day. The global economic environment remains uncertain. The euro area has fallen back into recession, but Australia is now well on the road to recovery. Our economy is forecast to grow by 1.25% in 2021, rising to 4.25% in 2021-22. Employment is at a record high, with 75,000 Australians in jobs more than they were before the pandemic. And this budget will help create more than 250,000 more jobs by the end of 2022-23. Mr. Speaker, this budget secures the recovery and sets Australia up for the future. Tax cuts to put more money into people's pockets. Business incentives to unleash a further wave of investment. new apprenticeships and training places to get more Australians into work, a $110 billion infrastructure pipeline to build our nation's future, and record funding to guarantee the essential services Australians rely on. Mr Speaker, the jobs are coming back, the economy is coming back, Australia is coming back, and this budget will ensure we come back even stronger and ensure that we secure Australia's economic recovery. I commend the budget to the House.
Well, there you go, guys. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Let's see. Thanks for the super chat, Michael. I think, you know, yeah, pay taxes and expire, be a man. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? So what do you think, guys? You know, will this change the way you vote? Are you happy with this budget? Any surprises here?
Sitting all those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Sure we come back.
The next sitting, all those of that opinion.
The House do now adjourn.
Question is that the House do now adjourn. All those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The House stands adjourned until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.
So there we have it, everyone. The House is adjourned. That's the budget. What do you think? What do you think? Just having a look here. So you're happy with it? You're happy with it? Let's have a look. Thanks, Heise. Depressing. So there we have it, guys. Let's just look at the empty room there. We'll pause that. Let's see. I'll do this. Maybe I'll wipe that. There we go. How are we going there, guys? Okay. Let me just modify this, and we'll just have a bit of a chat now. I think that we're finished, to see what people think of this budget, to see what they think of it. And we'll crop. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Ah, here we go. There we go. There we go. So has that centered me? Yeah, kinda. Oops. Ooh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Hang on. There we go. There. I really should be more organized than this, but you know, that's how it is. That's how it is. So, what are we looking at here? What are we looking at here? I'm pumped. Bunnings still has rope in stock. Got to buy the girls' vote that Chris is saying. What do you reckon? So guys, remember I've got a poll here. If you could vote on it in the chat. Will this budget influence how you vote at the next election? 10% Labor voters said yes, they're undecided. 13% Liberal voters, yes, I'm undecided. 17% minority voters, yes, I'm undecided. And 59% have already made up their mind. They've already made up their mind. Team Australia. Nice sounding sentences aimed at buying votes when very little will actually be delivered in reality. And Demantra beats girlfriend likes my shirt. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. John, it's the fan, need a heater on in Melbourne. Yeah, it's a bit hot here, mate. Mad Pyman has stopped voting for years. Michael is voting for Pauline. How much money did he put aside for recreational activities in Parliament House? I thought people do that for free and share it on Twitter, don't they? KMR is voting Labour for the next election. Is there anything about international students? No, not in the budget speech, but we heard in the news that they're removing the limits that they have on the hours they can work. So, what do you think that's going to do to that sector, guys? That's going to definitely have an impact. I think they're going to prep to bring more people over. And if you compare Australia to the rest of the world, we're still going to be more attractive. So they'll be pushing open the borders. Damien likes the budget. I like the fact that they're talking about reducing taxation. That's the encouraging thing. Everyone. And give us the highlights. I missed it. What are the highlights? Well, military spending is going up, more spending for daycare. The things that I thought were interesting was looking at reduced taxation for biopharmaceutical manufacturing here in Australia, and the patents, reduced taxation based on patents developed here in Australia. That's interesting. The standard thing, throwing more money at what is it? Apprenticeships, tax, lower tax threshold for low-wage earners, and superannuation. The superannuation threshold has been removed. So now it used to be you had to earn $450 before you got any super. Now everyone is getting super, even if they earn less than that. They're the things that jump out for me. What else do you think, guys? What are your favorite things? They'll reduce income tax, but we'll get stung by the inflation tax. Yeah, but people don't know about inflation tax. They don't think of it like that. So it's gonna work. He didn't mention the true inflation number once. Well, no, it's a sales pitch. You know? It's a sales pitch. Thanks for answering. Love from India. How you going, mate? Good day from Australia. Cheers. Thanks for the super chat. Tharge 1. Reduced inflation for cheap beef cheeks. Oh, wait, there was the reduced taxation on brewers and distillers. There you go, guys. Okay, so that was some good news. Cheaper beer, we'll have to see. It may all be the, the smaller businesses, but that's good. Demand Beast, I'm not voting for lower taxes. I can't afford a house. But then again, I'm not a boomer. And that just cares about house prices. Well, yeah. Super chat from Mike, Marketing Movies. Reason why it's women's focus is because they have the majority vote. There you go. Yeah, you're right there. Michael's disappointed in Afterpay prices. I didn't know Afterpay. I haven't invested in it. I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. I need to get this super chat looking right. FutureX would be voting One Nation. I think One Nation is going to attract a lot of Labour votes and some Conservative votes. I mean, Labour is... One Nation is not as right-wing as the media puts out. If you look at some of their policies, Timothy, I liked how they announced more money for aged care in the NDIA, or NDIS. Yet at the same time, they're making it harder for people who need support to access them through independent assessments. Yes, yeah, that's... well... it's all a mess. The problem is it will it will increase the costs of some of those services if you're not using it through that. No ball, no nuclear. No, we've got no nuclear. At least there's a discussion about infrastructure with regards to potable water and dams, so that's good. Lower beard tax when pigs fly. We'll have to see. The beard is looking sharp. Thank you very much. I went and got it cut today. FutureX was a lib, went to One Nation. I'm not surprised. I mean, here's the thing. You don't want to be ideologically linked to one party. You want to be flexible. You want to be able to change who you vote for as the need arises. You know, one of them can upset, you know, they can do well, they can do not. They have to work for your vote. If you're just going to be like a rusted on Liberal voter or rusted on Labor voter, they won't care about you. You know. Middle Cove is Australian biotech to the moon. Yeah, maybe that will be a sector we'll have to look at. You know, some share trading. Gates is working to make nuclear safer. I heard other people were. Grant is going, what happens when this forward demand dissipates? And I'm assuming he's referring to home builder bringing forwards back. Australia won't be looking so good then. I feel we're a double-dip recession in the next 12 months. I think we may... Well, how did we get out of the last recession, guys? We were dragged along by other countries. You know, that could be... We don't need to be doing well. We just need to look better than everyone else in the world. And that will attract investment and tourism if they open the borders. Will can't vote for any one party anymore. What does it matter for who you vote for in a democracy? Well, if you've lost faith in the system, it doesn't if you still think it works. Lockpicking lawyer, SA gets a South Road upgrade, only a 60-year wait. Yeah, there you go. Persian King, a vote for Labor is dangerous because they'll put us back in lockdown, not that other parties won't. That's the thing, we're not seeing so much difference between the two. 3 megawatts was confused by the AI thing too. I'd consider it just, you know, research campuses maybe, we'll have to see. Copper prices, how's copper going? I'm not, hang on. Well, I'm keeping all the copper I'm pulling out of my house. I got piles of cable sitting around there. I'm not throwing it out. What's copper? Ooh, there you go. Oh, look at that. Silver's 27 bucks. Gold's doing nice as well. Let's just have a look at Bitcoin, guys. 55. Doge is 50 cents. Liberal is to Labor as Coke is to Diet Coke. The one issue with Labor is they're going so far left. They need Greens preferences. That's the problem. Can we vote them out and replace them with new people? I think the issue is the bureaucrats. That's the thing. It's the bureaucrats. You can vote out the politicians. I remember I'm talking to people who've gotten to Parliament, and they're saying, well, once you get in there, once it's in Parliament, it's already gone too far to make changes. You need to get involved earlier. That's the issue. Do you think the Greens are commies? Do you think they're commies or they're just... I've got no idea. They want to bring the vote... Should the voting age be lifted? There's a question. Should we bring it up to 31? Should we remove universal suffrage? Should the right to vote be, well, be tied to your productive capacity? If you're a civil servant, should you still be able to vote? You've got a conflict of interest. Will is saying the Liberals are left-leaning. They just take longer to get to left-leaning policies. I think we're seeing that. That's the whole cultural shift to the left. Lift the voting age to 45. Didn't the Romans, you couldn't vote till you're 30? Couldn't vote till you're 30? No? Why not? Voluntary voting? Shrink the government is too inefficient? I think we need to have more at a local level. More involvement at a local level. Only those with an IQ of above 100 should be able to vote. What do you think about that one, everyone? You know, I've got a child who has Down syndrome, and statistically his IQ is going to be below 100. Should people who are below average intelligence be able to vote? I don't think it'll make any difference, to be honest. I don't think it'll make any difference at all to the outcome of an election if you put an IQ cap in there, because it doesn't really make any difference to people who are where they sit. Why do you want to remove preferences, Chris? They're pretty handy. They allow you to vote for a minor party, give them support and signal to the major. People just need to learn the power of preferences. It's a lot better than what you have over in other countries. First past the post. Heise, have you seen those local governments? Complete dimwits. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. They're all the corrupt ones here in Australia. Vote Heise, Viva el Presidente. I think with my... let's just say, cultural background, it's dangerous voting for people like me. Only landlords should vote. Let's just go back to that. You don't like the Senate? The Senate, I feel like I get more representation there than I do from my local rep. Because most people vote above the line. Yeah, we need to teach people how to use the power of their preferences. That's the thing. Ryan would vote me any day. Thank you very much for the compliment, but I don't know if you could achieve much when you're in there, unless you're for a minor, you know? Lockpick. Lockpicking is saying people that pay income tax should vote. Voting should be banned for corporations with an ABN. They can't vote. And two-party politics. I think we need to... I'm hoping we can get more people politically activated. This is the benefit I'm seeing of all these government interventions into our liberties and freedoms. Some people, for the first time, are actually giving a damn about politics. Because I think that's a real problem we have in Australia. People just don't care. They don't care about politics. They want to... I remember there was a young guy I interviewed on the channel. He started a political party because he was so frustrated with all these lockdowns. He couldn't believe what they were doing. That was the first thing that got him involved in stepping up into politics. You know, before then he was just doing his own thing, working and traveling and enjoying life. That's the Australian thing. So I'm hoping that'll happen. Name a government in all of world history which was good for the citizens of that country. I have to think on that one. How far back can we go? One vote for a family. But wouldn't that... what about then... Wouldn't that disadvantage the people who stick together? And then you got all people splitting up and having 50 different families. How about your vote is magnified by the number of children you have if you remain married? I don't know. A bit of bias there in that suggestion. Just a tad. Just a tad. Aussie's asking if you've ever considered leaving Australia. I don't think I have. I've got all my family here. I've got family in Europe too, and I can't imagine it'd be much better. Who am I going to vote for? I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I have to see. I'll probably vote for a minor, to be honest. And it depends on what options I have. I have to see who's running. 3 megawatt is disappointed they didn't make super voluntary. That's brave. That's brave. I can't see him just pulling that. Error 404, yeah, that would raise the superconductor needs. Remember, the banks and the unions have a big stake. How about Triple? How about you promote herbal tea? No, I want to get. I'd love to get a beef sponsor. Wouldn't that be awesome? All the carnivore guys over in the States, they've got all beef sponsors for their channels. CJ is moving to Brazil. Out of 10, what do you think of the budget? Well, there are a few things I liked in there, particularly the emphasis on reducing taxation for lower levels. I liked the 17% for the patents. I think that's interesting. That could hopefully evolve into looking at more experimentation with different regions around Australia. How would I rate it out of 10? Well, I guess, say if we say a 10 was the government was cutting its size by 50%, and a 0 was, comrade, we have to eat our cats. Let's say 6.5? What do you reckon? Heise says sponsored by Tasty Jacks. I don't know what Tasty Jacks is. Is it good? A coffee sponsor seems more fitting. Here's the secret. I drink the cheapest, crappiest coffee. I used to be a snob. I've got a semi-commercial machine there. I just drink instant now. I've become such a bogan, everyone. You know, I just don't care anymore. I guess it's because I'm a, middle-aged dad now. Advanced dad is going, vote for minor parties even if they don't win. I believe they get more funding. Yes, if they get more than 4%. Well, they actually get funding. If they get over I think the 3% or the 4%, they will get some money for each vote. So rather than give your vote to a major, give it to a minor, so they get the $3 per vote, and it may cover their cost, really. And then put a major that you prefer after that. You know? Put it after that. That's what I'd be suggesting. That's what I'd encourage people to do. The sad thing is, I've got family members who are involved in politics, and they'll put LMP first and then the minor underneath it. And I go, well, no, you meant to put the minor first so they get the funding. That's how it works. What instant coffee is your poison? The cheapest stuff from Aldi. The Aldi brand. I'm a big fan of Aldi, guys. I went to Coles today to get some stuff for Rachel, and it's so expensive. So expensive. It's interesting, actually. There was a woman going up to the smoke counter there at the shop at Coles, complaining about the disabled person who was serving them at the register, going, she couldn't hear. They kept asking me to repeat. You should tell me about that. And I just turned to the woman, the poor Coles worker who had to hear that, and go, boy, she was a Karen, wasn't she? And she agreed. Sorry to all the Karens. Heise says sponsored by 7-Eleven. That'd be good. But I only drink the coffee there. Everything else there's garbage. Put the majors last. Yep. Yeah. That's it. You talking about the miners, Di? Cover their costs? Do they do business vacations? I mean, some of them are so badly organized, just trying to pull something together. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. Is that a name, or, she'll go ya with the nagging? New at Aldi Al Cafe. Yeah, that's it. Lockpicking always puts the greens last. Does Heise eat nose to tail? That's a Rachel question if she's still watching. I mean, you know, with my diet, guys, I've got a wife, okay? You want to lose weight, you get a wife, you get her on the carnivore diet or the keto diet, and then you'll lose weight. That's it. That's how you do it. Okay? You need a good wife. It's cheating. Oh, think help. Heise says brought to you by Beyond Meat. What, you know, come on, mate. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. I'm going to change this stream chat. I'm going to pull that up. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much for the super. I appreciate it. Mine can't even cook. That's... Oh, well. Rachel's a bloody good cook. She makes a really good tomahawk... tomahawk steak roast, you know, rib roast, cuts it up and puts all these herbs and spices on it. And I remember we had a friend over, and unfortunately his wife had like band surgery, and she couldn't eat enough of it. It really was sad. Vote Heise's One Nation Party for subsidized Aldi coffee. Yeah, not all Karens are Karens. Yeah, I know. It's a meme. I watched Dorkly, or no, Lowbrow on YouTube. They have a little cartoon about it. Muzzle Heise says, where do you find a good wife? I can't really say. I got lucky. I met her at university. Rachel was working in the computer labs. I took her out for a beer, and, well, there you go. We didn't take it too seriously, and now we're expecting our 6th child. Thanks for the super chat. Advanced Dad, I appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much. Pendulum, maybe your wife's boyfriend can ask him to go. Ask him next time. That's the whole joke, isn't it? Oh, hang on. We buy beef. Oh, wait, that's Rachel. Rachel's comment. Is hang on. I'm trying to get this right, guys. There we go. Oh, anyway. Muzzle. Yes, thank you. I think we did announce it on the channel. Yeah, number 6. Poor Rachel's hobbling around now because she burned herself. And she's just 16 weeks. So, I mean, that's just life. Life's just crazy. We're used to it. I should get a fertility clinic to sponsor us. Well, you don't need a fertility clinic. They're the thing, you know. You shouldn't need to pay money to have kids. Okay, you should just be able to have sex and pump them out. If anything, you need to learn a bit more about tracking your cycle. Because that's something that Rachel's really learned a lot about. That they don't teach you at school. They just get you on the pill. You know, you see all these women that are, you know, super vegan and healthy, and they'll just keep eating all these artificial pills and everything. Which isn't healthy. What are we looking at here? Hang on, something's gone wrong. Here we go. Happy make sausages. Never tried that. We probably will. Once we get back in this place. We're in tiny rental now. We've got no room. Guys, we've got no room right now. And Pendulum doesn't eat the cold sausage. There's the thing. They've got a lot of starch and food in them. When you look at them. When you look at the actual ingredients. How do you have a house? They're 3 doors up. So that's why I'm in the back of the studio of the real house. So it's crazy up the road. It's not quiet. It is not quiet at all. They make so much noise sometimes. You just put up with it. You know. If we refuse to pay council rates, I'd rather we get sensible people into council and cut all the bullshit out of it. Because it's the one, I mean, think about it. It's one of the few levels of government where you actually get service from them and you notice it on a day-to-day basis. Thanks for the congratulations. It's funny how few people congratulate you if you, when you're saying you're having your 5th kid. Everyone. That's how it is. Oh, 6th. Oops. Hang on. When drinking the beer you had with Rachel, did you discuss the high taxation on Australian brewers and demand action by the 2020 budget? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Council is run by the WHO. I wouldn't say council is run by the WHO. I would say the bureaucrats in council, they go to events, they talk to the same people, so these ideals just filter down. So you've got all the civil servants buying into a lot of this stuff. What's a condom? Isn't that what sailors use? You know? You're having trouble with the head count sometimes. And you get their names mixed up. On the 6th human resource. Well, they get cheap the more you have. The more children you have. Here we go. My parents had 8 kids. I would hate to grow up in a small family. Well, I'm an only child. My mother just had me. So all of a sudden, boom, she's the grandmother of 6. I don't think she expected that. To what extent will China's plan to source iron ore from Africa impact Australia? Well, it'll definitely, if they pull it off, it'll have an impact on the Australian budget. But it depends on if it decreases their demand for resources here in Australia. I'm like the Home Alone mother, am I? Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. So few people have kids these days, it's funny. Kind of sad, really. You know? The Von Trapp family, yeah. What? You don't need... No. If you're going to use your bug out bad, won't they need you to help repopulate the planet? Or the country? Did Australia get back the Port of Darwin? No, I don't think so. I think that's just a bunch of talk. You know, I don't think it'll happen. Have you tried Yatla pies? Yes. Yeah, they're really good. But not for years. Not for years. Whoa. Everyone has 10 kids. That's insane. That's really rare. Congratulations. Why did the koala fall out of the tree? It was dead. Okay. Well, guys, what do you think overall? Are you happy with the budget or are you not? Let's have a look at the poll results. And it hasn't changed. 10% Labor undecided voters said yes, this will influence them. 14% Liberal undecided said yes, it'll influence them. 16% said yes, minor parties will influence them, but 60% said no, they've already made up their mind. We should cut China from our... I don't know if we can actually do that under the WTO, mate. I think China could probably take us to court, the international court. You know? Persian King doesn't think it'll make a difference. I think there's a lot of spin in it. You know? Muzzle's very unhappy with the budget. People don't have kids anymore, they have dogs and cats. Yeah, that's a sad thing. Start your own party. Well, you got to have enough kids to do it. There's a lot of parties though, guys. There's too many parties here in Australia, and people, the average person doesn't even understand preferences. You know, that's the issue. I mean, there's how many parties are there? I did the last election. I went through Senate candidates for every party in every state. Guys, I did hours of videos looking at them. There were so many. You know, and people are so attached to one party or the other. I think it'd be better if we kind of shift the Overton window and get more people involved and interested in politics. More people awake and realize what's going on. You know, we'll see. I didn't go to the right schools, Pershing, mate. That's the thing. Got to remember that. That plays a part too. If you want to get into one of the big parties and climb your way up to be PM, I'd be happy if we just have more and more people using their preferences. CJ wants to push for Australian iron ore. I think the biggest issue with that is the not in my backyard crowd and the fact that you have a bunch of greenies that are opposed to any development. Guys, that's what I think will be the nail in the coffin for that. Michael, oh, the schools, the connected, people you know at them. You know, I guess it could work. What? A TV channel for dogs? Maybe. Okay, good night, Persian King. Take care, mate. Thanks for watching. Well, guys, how long have we been going now? Oh, just over 2 hours. We can vote the Greens out of existence. I think what we want to have is an alternative party on the more sensible side of politics as a counterweight to the Greens. Because the Greens have done the long march through it, and their influence is going over onto Labor. Labor now needs their preferences to win seats, to win power. That's what you want to see on the other side of Parliament. Is One Nation a party that can do that? The problem with One Nation is, once Pauline retires, what's going to happen to it? What other alternatives do you have that are nationwide? Even One Nation didn't have a presence nationwide. You've got the Australian Conservatives, they fell down. They don't exist anymore. So who else do you have? So a whole lot of different minor parties. We'll have to see what happens. CJ, the green stuff is important, but sadly they're more pressing issues. And I think a lot of it will be addressed. It'll be addressed. One Nation seems to be the only option at the moment. Well, they got closest to getting someone in the House of Reps, and that relationship kind of soured now. We'll have to see what happens. What, there's a case in Melbourne? One case? I mean, okay. I'm not worried. Are you worried, guys? Andreas 99. Wasn't there was another YouTuber that ran in the recent election for the Libertarian Party. Well, they're not even called the Libertarian Party, the LDP, Liberal Democrats. But they seem like such a mess as well as an alternative. Just a lot of the infighting in there. I mean, politics in Australia is interesting. At the very least, people are getting more involved, more active. And that's encouraging. That encourages me. Well, guys, the Fisher and Hunters Party, yeah. I mean, how many parties are there? You know, and then to run it, you got to spend a lot of money, a lot of time. Pauline will be like, once I go from this party, what will happen? Please explain. Yeah, what's her succession planning? A one nation left. They are interventionists, yeah. I'd say they're actually pretty centrist when you look at some of their policies. I'd call them centre nationalist. Don't be thinking you align with a political party, vote independent. Yes, that's the thing. No one party is going to be your solution or your saver. You'll be disappointed by all of them, guys. The only thing the budget left out was my 7-Eleven $1 Steiner coffee. Yeah, that's it. That's it. What's this? Oh, I mean, what's the point? Australian government put travel restrictions for Australian citizens from other countries. They put heavy fines on them and 5 years of jail. Is that the right thing? What do you think? I'm not surprised at all. That's what our government's doing. What's the value of that citizenship then? You know? It's kind of sad, really, isn't it? Oh, good night, Michael. Thanks, mate. Also, are cows bad for the planet? I'll have to look at that. Anyway, guys, thank you all very much for joining me for this episode of HeiseSays. I'm going to go and probably prepare for tomorrow. Prepare for my videos for tomorrow and look at what work I got to do around the place. A bit more demo. And take care, guys. We'll see how this budget goes. This is definitely, it's going to be interesting to see what the newspapers report on it and how this election goes. So take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.